There are a lot of people who say no one can replace you.
Après moi le déluge. You know what it means?
Valentino is an Italian dress designer whose name is known around the world.
To me, the dream of my life is to create clothes for ladies.
I've seen you in the papers.
45 years later, Valentino is still leading the way in glamour.
I know what women want.
And what do they want?
They want to be beautiful. I was always so attracted by magazines, by films.
Valentino is above control. Valentino does what he wants. Valentino is Valentino.
C'è mai venuto su queste cose? No, quasi mai. Quasi mai. Qualche volta sì. Sì.
He doesn't realize really the work behind this business.
Rottura di palle, siete tutti quanti perché era bello così, senza mettere strisce.
To be with Valentino as a friend, as a lover, as an employee, you need a lot of patience.
I am here to decide something very important, and I don't want to be filmed.
The Valentino fashion group has been purchased by private equity firm Permira.
And it's unclear whether Valentino would stay on under a new owner.
We have to take care of our figures, not only style.
I'm not sure Valentino wants to change after so many years.
You can imagine Marzotto telling me, you have not to do this, you have not to do that. I would eat them.
I've seen Valentino almost every day in my life, except maybe in 45 years, the total 2 months.
Et ma gratitude et mon amitié vont tout particulièrement à M. Giancarlo Giannetti. This was the best thing for me to create dresses. I am a disaster in everything else.
Valentino will be the last one of that generation who will define the difference between yesterday and today.
I love beauty. It's not my fault. Come stavo io? Di la verità.
Ok, io. Mi sento tipo scuro.
Some of you last week, well, only a privileged few, I guess, had heard us talking in the green room or in the radio station about the this just gnarly documentary that's actually, it's been out for some time, but it's making the rounds on cable again. And it's really unbelievable. It's called Valentino the Last Emperor. And it's so far from what we would normally watch and find entertaining, yet so captivating and so well done at the same time that it's worthy of a tremendous amount of respect. This documentary really is unbelievable in terms of what it gets across. I mean, I have no interest in high fashion. In fact, I shun a lot of the personalities that I perceive to be running high fashion. Sure. You know, but this is one of those weird moments where you find yourself watching the first 3 minutes of a documentary going, this is unbelievable. So with us to start the show, and it's going to be a gnarly show at that, is director Matt Tyrnauer, who actually brought us Valentino the Last Emperor. So hang tight. We're going to get him on the phone. He is in New York. He's decided to give us the time. Unbelievable. Here we go. We're calling him now. So everyone just bear with me. Technical issue.
Hello.
Hello, Director Matt Tyrnauer.
Hello, sir.
It's Ethan with Combat Radio. How are you?
I'm very well. Good to be here.
You know, we refer to everyone with a special degree in hypnosis or movie-making magic as a doctor. You have a PhD in a certain skill set that we respect quite a bit. I was just talking a little bit off radio, and normally I like to get right to the conversation. But your film, Valentino the Last Emperor, was so surprising to me as somebody who is such the antithesis of the fashion world. When I saw that documentary, I could, number one, not believe how well done it was and how well it was put together, but just how captivating the whole subject was. Because to be honest with you, in passing, if you were to mention this documentary to me, it's unlikely I would have taken notice. But having watched the first 5 minutes, I actually started grabbing people around me saying, you're not going to believe this documentary I'm watching. This is unbelievable. The characters captured in this thing are just phenomenal. And we are so far removed from the fashion world that that's probably a bigger compliment than you realize, Matt. I'm sorry to start the conversation off that way, but we're
No, I like a backhanded compliment. But you're onto something. And first of all, thank you very much. I really appreciate that, and I get what you're saying. And started myself on this project as a non-fashion person, really. Maybe not as extremely non-fashion as you are. I haven't seen you in person, so I don't really know.
It's shocking.
You're certainly setting it up that way. But I really didn't know anything either. And, I went to meet Valentino as a writer for Vanity Fair. And I have an obsession with Italy, so I was thrilled to go to Rome for 2 weeks for free. That's the way I looked at this story. And then when I got there, I was kind of in the shoes that I feel like you were in, which is, Jesus Christ, but this is so much more than I thought on so many levels. First of all, the art of making clothes like this was unknown to me. It's all done by hand, by old women. And, it's basically like 100 grandmas sitting in a room with needles and thread, and they're making these exquisite dresses, which in theory I could care less about, but they're really works of art. So that becomes very clear when you're in the middle of Rome and seeing this taking place. It's like something that happened 100, 200 years ago that's still happening today. So on that level, it was rather... The character, which you've also touched on, is... there's no one like that I've ever met in my life. That's why I wanted to make the movie, ultimately. It wasn't about the clothes, it was about the human being. And the movie's really a love story. It's a love story between two old guys, which is not your normal movie topic. But that's what it was. And I knew that going in. I didn't know whether I'd get that on film, but, this is an exceptional character. He's like a Fellini character, living live, living his life, and then he has his partner, Giancarlo Giamatti, who has been with him in business and in life for more than 50 years now. And the movie's about that relationship.
It was, to me, first of all, it was kind of refreshing to see people make clothes in Italy rather than a third world sweatshop.
Yeah.
But, God, isn't that the
and
truth?
It is genuinely art. That's the first, our business being film and television production, there's a lot of similarities ramping into a show that displays this kind of art. But the first question I've got to ask you, Matt, is how did you manage to let these two dominant personalities that are basically control freaks give you final cut over the film when their images are totally been controlled throughout the years?
Yes, well, you've gotten right to the point. This was the thing that allowed the movie to be made. Was I did have final cut, and you wouldn't see what you see now without that. You would see basically a commercial for Valentino, and my name wouldn't be on it because I would have walked away from the project. Right. When I started this, I had no lawyers in my life. By the time I was done with the film, I had about 18 lawyers.
Good Lord.
It was a real lesson in doing business with billionaires, number one. But yeah, I mean, it's a movie about a control freak, and it's a movie about two control freaks, really. Right. The aforementioned Valentino and Giancarlo. And if I had known what it was going to be like when I embarked upon the project, I never would have done it, because and this is the beauty of doing things like this, is ignorance really does get you very far.
Yes.
I made half the movie and spent half the money without an agreement with them, because they kept throwing out the agreement I gave them to sign, because they're not stupid. They've been in business for 50 years. They're very tough, and they're very megalomaniacal. And finally, with the help of a very good attorney, or 12, I got them into a corner where they basically had to sign the agreement, or I would walk away from the project. And you know how these things go. I mean, it's all about people's motives. I think they really wanted a movie about themselves. I think this was their best shot.
Right.
They were willing to roll the dice with me. Going back to being non-fashion person, I think that helped me a lot. I think, there are a lot of people who are so ghoulishly into fashion that they know every last dress that someone like Valentino ever made. And I think that freaks a Valentino out, because they feel like they're being judged. I was sort of like this relatively benign person who didn't know what the hell I was doing. Mm-hmm. So I think that was a comfort to them.
They were known as Lucifer and the Men with Painted Faces. Then they burned New Orleans to the ground. And when they sacked Panama, I knew that my road to redemption would be paved with tombstones. And by the time they brought the apocalypse to West Africa and the Indian Ocean, I would come to know two words with biblical significance. No quarter. No quarter. Kill All Masters. Rated R. Coming soon. Available on all platforms. Visit noquarterkillallmasters.com.